I, with my whole heart, support our new superintendent, Cammie Anderson. She has and will continue to take bold and courageous common sense steps to transform our system to that end. These steps won't be easy, but change never is. I want to be frank, it is appalling to me that when Superintendent Anderson comes out with bold common sense plans that some people won't even take time to listen, to hear what they are. They put politics ahead of personalities and politics ahead of children and our families. We must do better than this for our kids. They deserve better from us as leaders.
All right, that was Mayor Cory Booker yesterday in his State of the City speech, praising his school superintendent. And here with us now, Fort Lee Public Schools Superintendent Stephen Angravali and Newark School Superintendent Cammie Anderson. Good to have you both on board this morning. It's really good to be getting to know you all and the challenges you face as well. I was told to save this for the end.
What's that?
Can I see your socks? What happened? Oh, good Lord.
Oh, my goodness. There's no more.
What?
There's no more waiting for Superman. He's here. There we go. Now, Willie, you had referenced a big difference between school districts.
That's a good thing.
Obviously, she has one of the most challenging in the state.
Yeah, I just mentioned Barringer High School in our last segment. Difficult neighborhood, Barringer. It's not the only one in Newark, of course. What have you been able to do since you got into Newark to change things a little bit, if you have?
So it's great to be in a high school, right? This is an apropos question. I love being here. It gives me energy to persevere and remember why we're here, which is for students, and that's a great thing. So places like Barringer, I mean, first and foremost, it's about people, right? You need an awesome principal, clear vision, clear goals, bold action, and the right people that are hired through mission-driven processes and safe buildings that feel purposeful, where there's a sense of urgency, and that can be done. And it's being done all over the country, and my position is if it can be done anywhere, it should be done everywhere, and that's our singular mission in Newark.
And you've turned things around here. How have you done it?
Well, I got to say it openly and honestly. We got a tremendous staff. As we said it before the break, the majority of teachers are tremendous, and we're very, very lucky.
What was it like getting to that point, though? Because we keep talking about. I mean, it almost sounds like a little bit of sugar coating, and it couldn't have been that easy.
No, it definitely wasn't. But I can tell you, it's a change of culture, and it's a change of supporting only the superstars and the rock star teachers, and instead of spending our time, the majority of our time, on that 5% that are the problems. Spend your time supporting that 95%, and that's really what we did. So, I stopped wasting my time with people that you couldn't change. They were recalcitrant. They're just not going to grow, and spent that time really working hard for the good ones.
I'm just wondering though how you survived that too, as well, because isn't there the risk?
Kevlar.
Yeah. But I mean, we look at Michelle Rhee's story from many different levels, and you can get swallowed up by the anger and the bitterness in the system, and also all the different details that come into play in arguments as to what should be a priority.
Yeah, everybody has their own opinion. It's kind of like when I was a Little League umpire. Everybody knew the rules, so they always shouted at you because they all played Little League. Everybody's been to a school, so everybody knows how a school should be run.
Everyone's an expert on school.
Everybody's an expert.
Really?
People at the grocery store. So
I was interested in talking to you this week, Stephen, about how your experience as a teacher, as a young man, kind of informed the way you are now as a superintendent. Talk about a little bit about what you saw as a young, ambitious teacher.
Well, I can tell you I'm still a teacher, and that's really, I never wanted to be a superintendent of schools, I'll be honest. I wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to be a coach. And I stayed late. I came in early. I worked hard for kids. I did a lot of extra things, and I would have people knocking on my door. You can't do that. You're making us all look bad. No, you're not allowed to bring those kids in the morning. I said, why? I'm here, doing my lesson plans. Why can't they come in and use the computer in the morning? Nope, you're just not allowed. It doesn't start. You don't go on contract till 8:05. And I can tell you, I have no tolerance for that nonsense. So I quickly was ostracized. Thankfully, I don't need them. Okay, I need my kids. And don't ask me where that comes from, but throw a brick at me, I take it, and I build an empire instead of cowering underneath it. And that's really what I said. I said, so my goal was, okay, I'm going to become the principal, and I'm going to fix it. So I enrolled in 2 master's degree programs at the same time, while coaching varsity football, varsity track, officiating, doing everything I had to do. And then I became the principal. And I had some bozo on top of me making decisions that trumped the good decisions.
He's soft-spoken just like you, Governor.
Don't hold back.
So Governor, let me ask you this question. So you're governor of the state of New Jersey. You're spending more money per student than anybody else in America. You're actually going to spend even more money this next year than New Jersey ever has per student. When you're trying to figure out how to improve schools in your state, where do you start? Do you look at a map? Do you look at the grades coming out of individual? How do you do it?
I think first you look at the places where there are the biggest challenges. You know, we have hundreds of school districts in New Jersey that are doing fabulously well at turning out really great students that are career ready or college ready all across the state. And even in our challenge districts, we have successes to talk about. But in the districts that are really challenged, I think that's where you have to focus your energy. It's kind of the opposite of the way the superintendent has to deal with the teachers in his particular district or principals. Because for me, if I'm looking at the entire state and I say, all right, where do I want to focus my attention?
You got to go to the trouble.
You got to go to the trouble, and you try to bring good people. That's why we recruited Cami to come from New York and to come over here and take over the Newark school system. You have to get real leaders. And you know this, that any problem that we have in our society cannot be solved without real strong leadership. Right. Just can't be. And that's why we picked her.
I'm going to ask you about your greatest success story, but before I do that so far, let's talk about the biggest surprise that you face since becoming governor, and the biggest obstacle, and you can't use the word union in your answer. But obviously,
no comment then.
You weren't an educator before you became governor. You were a prosecutor. So you come to this relatively new on the education reform front. What has surprised you? Because, like, I'll give you an example, just so you know what I'm going for. The Gates Foundation. The Gates have invested billions and billions of dollars in trying to reduce class sizes. After spending billions of dollars, they found out that wasn't the answer, that had no effect. In the end, it came down to teachers. What's been your biggest surprise, your biggest epiphany?
Learning curve.
Oh, listen, I think that the biggest surprise for me has been the fact that people have just been on autopilot on this subject. And I mean everybody, the public, everybody else. They kind of, we send our kids to school, we hope everything goes okay. And even the stuff that we know is wrong, we're not willing to step up and really challenge people. And it's a good and bad thing, Joe. I mean, part of the ethos is we have great respect for teachers and for the teaching profession. And so we give them great deference. Mm-hmm. And I think as parents we do that, and as we try to encourage students, we respectfully your teachers, be deferential to your teachers.
But what idea did you have on education reform that a couple of years later you said, okay, I'm not going to try that again?
I haven't come up with that one yet. Because candidly, you asked me my greatest success. I pray I haven't had my greatest success yet. Because we haven't done nearly enough yet. And I've had a lot of resistance. The last 2 years have been about fights to try to get people in New Jersey awake to the idea that it is immoral to spend $24,000 per pupil per year in Newark and have kids graduating at a stunningly low rate, and even the ones who graduate needing remedial training to sit in a college classroom, and that it should matter to the people in Fort Lee what's going on in Newark. It should matter to them, because guess what? They're paying for it. Because 90+% of the funding that goes to Newark comes from the state income tax. So we need to care about that for that reason, and we need to care about it because these kids who are in Newark, if we write them off and sign them away, they're not going away.
So let's talk about Newark and Cami. I want to know what it took to get you to go to Newark, New Jersey.
A lot of begging.
And it's going to be tough to get an answer out of you, I think, because I want to know if it pertains to money. We should not be afraid to talk about it. But was that a factor? What was it that enticed you? And Willie was talking earlier about bringing prestige back to teaching and running schools, which we want. So I'd like to know what it was that got you to come on over there and take over.
It was 100% the opportunity to put together all of what I've learned in 20 years of school reform in one city that has been grossly underperforming for too long. I mean, I got into this work because I believe passionately that every single student can achieve. I was a teacher that worked my butt off to deliver the kind of results that it sounds like my colleague here did. And I am surprised. My surprise, 20 years in, is that there are still people who think that poverty should determine outcomes.
But if I could,
sure.
Did you feel like they valued you? Was there a value issue and either financial offers or some sort of sense that, yes, someone's going to back me on this?
It was about mission. I believe the governor, the mayor, the commissioner, many members of the council, other elected officials, the philanthropic community, there's a critical mass of folks in Newark that were saying enough. We want to be the city to show demonstrably and put to rest this crazy debate about whether or not kids of color and or kids who are poor can achieve at dramatically high levels. It was the chance to work with a group of people like that.
And think about the historic opportunity that a teacher or a superintendent has in Newark, New Jersey. We bemoan the fact all the time on this show that politics is too divided. Well, if you're an educator in New Jersey, you have a mayor, you have a governor, you have the Secretary of Education in Washington, and you've got a President of the United States that are essentially on the same team. And when you line them up that way, Governor, some great things can happen. A Democratic mayor, a Republican governor, and a Democratic president all on the same team on education reform.
Exactly right. School board, too. Increasingly,
and the
school
philanthropic
members, too.
end of it.
And listen, in the end, that's what people want from us. This is not a partisan issue. It shouldn't be. Right. It's about making these things better opportunity for our kids. And and don't let her kid you, Mika. There was a significant amount of groveling.
You gave her a lot of cash,
part.
right?
Well, it's Jersey, under the table.
That's
all
good.
Right. Meeting across the river tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Nice socks.
We love it.
Seriously, that's hot. Cammie Anderson, thank you very much. Congratulations to everything both of you have done.